Okay, for the crust of the cheesecake, you're gonna need 2 packets of graham crackers, 1 stick of butter, half a teaspoon of ground cloves, half a teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. And for the actual cheesecake itself, you'll need 2 teaspoons of flour, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 4 eggs at room temperature, 2 cups of sugar, and 4 sticks of cream cheese. Okay, so now we're gonna ground the graham crackers for the crust. Crackers, it should look like this. So we're gonna put this into any bowl that you have lying around. And we're gonna do the same, we're gonna repeat the same thing for the second stack or the second pack of graham crackers. Okay, so now we're gonna melt our butter. So you wanna put the stick of butter in the microwave for about 30 seconds and just let it melt. So for our crust, we're going to put our grounded graham crackers and the rest of our ingredients into the bowl. And what we're going to do once these are in here is we're going to whisk them together. And then once it's whisked, then we're going to put our melted butter that we put in the microwave, we're going to just pour that in there. And then after that, we're going to whisk it until it turns like a crisp brown. Okay, once all the ingredients are blended, this is what it should look like. Okay, so this is our cheesecake pan, and with the butter, we're going to butter the cheesecake pan so that the rest of the cheesecake crust doesn't stick to it. Okay, now this is what the cheesecake pan should look like once it's all buttered up. Okay, so now we're going to take our crust mixture and pour it into the buttered cheesecake pan. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to press it down and set it into the cheesecake pan. Okay, so we have our cream here, and now what we're going to do is we're going to pour our 2 cups of sugar in with the cream cheese. And now we're going to mix them together until it's nice and creamy. Okay, so now this is what it should look like after you mixed both the sugar and the cheesecake bars together. So now we're going to take our flour, eggs, and vanilla extract, throw that in, and mix it some more. Okay, so now that we mixed together all our ingredients into this creamy sauce here, what we did off camera was we just covered the cheesecake pan with a little bit of foil. You don't have to do this, this was just an extra option. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pour the mixture into our crust. Okay, so now we're making the topping, the caramel topping for the cheesecake. We have 1/2 cup of water, 1/2 cup of whipped cream, a stick of butter, and a cup of sugar. We're gonna turn the stove on to a medium low, and then we're gonna put the water and the sugar in. And you're going to let this sit until it turns a boiling the sugar and water. You can see that it's turned into a golden brown caramel sauce. So now we're going to take our butter, our stick of butter, and we're going to put it into the caramel. And we're going to mix it until it turns nice and creamy. Okay, so now that we've mixed our butter stick into our caramel, we're going to take the 1/2 cup of whipped cream and we're going to pour it in. And you're going to want to mix this into the caramel too, just like the butter stick. And this is what the final product of the caramel sauce should look like. Okay, so with our caramel mixture, we just poured it into a Ziploc bag and cut the end to make a funnel. This is the caramel mixture we made for the topping. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to put this in a swirl pattern all around the cheesecake. And this is how we're going to make the pattern design for the top. Okay, and now once we applied our caramel, now we're gonna make the little design. And what you want to do is you can do anything. You can get a toothpick or a long stick. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna want to make lines across the caramel like this. So this is what the finished cheesecake product looks like. Now we're gonna bake this in the oven for 2 hours at 275. Okay, so this is what the final product should look like.